Hi, hello, welcome to your Hatha Flow. If we've never met before, I am Dom or Dominique. It's such a pleasure to be here with you in practice and in space today. If you would like to grab a few props, please feel free to grab a blanket or a pillow. I like to keep those handy for our knees, for Savasana, anything we need to give ourselves a little bit more cushioning for support, as well as if you have blocks or block substitutes, you can use cans of soups, you can use stacks of books, you could use a desk. All of those things are super great. So please feel free to do all of that. And then I would like to start standing today and do a little bit of a shaky meditation, which sometimes we do together. And I know it can maybe feel a little funny if you've never practiced before. But hopefully, because we're in our own space, maybe you're with a teammate, it'll feel okay. So I'd like to start with our feet sort of like comfortable. Actually, let's give everything like a gentle wiggle, a gentle flail. And then let's pause. And we're just going to start with a gentle closing of the eyes, letting your feet be on the floor however they want to be, not worrying about hip distance or parallel, just letting them land. And can we take a few breaths out? Big breath in through the nose. Sigh it out. Do that again. Inhale, big breath in. Exhale it out. One more time. Inhale in. Exhale it out. Nice and gently, starting to let the arms rotate around the body. A gentle sway, a gentle circle around here. Starting our practice today with a little bit more of an energizing experience before we move into a little bit of mindfulness, and then continue this companionship of energy and mindfulness together. I think sometimes we can think about mindfulness as a still act of getting really still in our minds, which is definitely a truth, but another truth could be that we move our bodies to find a little bit more mindfulness, yeah? Starting to let this rotation in your body get a little bit bigger. Maybe your arms start to helicopter around you. Your torso is moving. Your head is moving with you. Can we maybe start to bend into our knees as we're rotating and twisting? Feels like I'm in like a fun music video here. Letting your head, letting your body start to create waves. Maybe your feet start to come off of the floor. Maybe you feel sort of like weird and silly, but the weird and the silly is good. Letting those arms just move around you. Don't get too dizzy though. Letting your body, letting your movements be just whatever they need to be, whatever you need to sort of shake out of your system so that you can find some calmness. Can we get bigger and bigger? Maybe you start to jump side to side, very gently leaping across the floor, circling through those arms, being silly, being big, and being okay with that. Or maybe it's smaller and more contained because that's what you feel comfortable with, and that's perfect. Let's go for two. Last one. Can we start to create a little bit of smallness in these shapes again? Bringing ourselves back and arriving to stillness. Standing, if that feels reasonable. Eyes closed or eyes open. But closed if that feels best for you. Maybe feeling your weight to distribute across your feet left to right, until we eventually settle. Inhaling in through the nose. Exhale a side out. If you feel like placing your hands on your body, maybe a hand on your chest, a hand on your belly, maybe two hands on your chest, maybe hands together, maybe down beside you. Finding this moment of pause. I have been inspired by another teacher friend of mine who started a class like this recently, and it's something I intend on adding in every time we practice together. So feeling your feet on the floor, maybe those eyes closed or dimmed, feeling the movement of prana, of energy, of breath in your body. I am coming to you from Oakville, and so this is the land honoring for this space. Halton, as we know it today, is rich in the history and modern traditions of many First Nations and the Métis. From the lands of the Anishinaabe to the Atawandaran, the Haudenosaunee, and the Métis, these lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in Indigenous history. As we gather today on these treaty lands, we are in solidarity with our Indigenous brothers and sisters to honor and respect the 4 directions, lands, waters, plants, animals, and ancestors that walked before us, and all of the wonderful elements of creation that exist. We acknowledge and thank the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation for being stewards of this traditional territory. With that, taking a big breath in, reach those arms up overhead. Exhale, blow that air, push it away. Inhale, big reach up. Exhale, push it away. 2 more times. Inhale, big reach up. Exhale, down and away. 1 more time. Inhale, big reach up. Exhale, down and away. Pause in that forward fold. Giving your knees a nice bend, maybe a stretch side to side of the legs. Allowing your body to melt over them. Maybe adding a bit of movement here. And if at any time your head being below your heart does not feel fabulous for you, please feel free to come up halfway. Super fabulous option. That's getting into the things that we're getting into regardless. Can we straighten out through the right leg, bend through the left knee, and just feel what that does through our right hip? And then we're going to switch, bending through the right knee, reaching out through the left leg. Bending to the left, reaching out through the right. Bending through the right, reaching out through the left. Just adding this gentle little flow here, gentle little stretch. And then the next time we bend into the left, stick the right glute out. Can you maybe find a place for your left hand to land? It could be on your thigh, it could be on the floor, it could be on a block. And pushing the floor with the left arm, rotating from the collarbones, reaching that right arm up. Nice big stretch through the side of the right bum here. Taking a breath in, taking your breath out. Gently guiding your body back through center, maybe giving those legs a little bit of a wiggle. And then we go the other way, bending into the right knee, reaching out through the left hip. Rotating through the spine, reaching that left arm up. Taking your breath in here. And your breath out. Gently bringing everything back to center, bending through those knees, pushing the floor away as we roll our lovely selves all the way up, giving those shoulders a nice roll. Walking those feet a little closer together, a little more towards hip distance. Can you look down at your toes, and can we just rock our feet forward a little bit and then rock our weight back to our heels? Rocking towards our toes, rocking back to our heels. And adding this little sway front and back. Opening through those toes as you go. So our primary movement, our beginning part of our experience together today being turning on these receptors of our breath, of our feet, of our movement, of our thoughts. One more time, rocking back towards your heels. Can you lift your toes, spread your toes wide and plant them down? Zipping up through those thighs, feeling the earth, the wisdom of experiences that have come before us, down underneath us, giving us that information to move. When you're ready, inhale, reach those arms up. As you exhale, drop your right hand down, side bend over to the right. Inhale, the arms come up. Exhale, dropping the left hand down, side bend over to the left. Inhale, both of your arms sweep up as you exhale, gently melting your lovely selves forward over those legs. Inhale to come up halfway, lengthening out tail to head. Exhaling to melt it down to the floor. Push the floor away, roll up through your spine, lengthen yourself all the way up. And then exhale, let those hands come down. Inhale, those arms reach up. Left hand lowers down, side bend over to the left, firing up through the glutes, pressing down through the right foot. Inhaling, those arms come up. Exhaling, a right arm comes down, side bend over to the right. Inhaling up in space. Exhaling, diving forward over those legs. Inhale, lengthen up halfway. Exhaling to melt it down. Pressing feet through the floor, roll ourselves up, arms reach up overhead. Keep the arms reaching. Can you grab a hold of the left wrist with the right hand if that feels accessible? Lengthening ourselves up, pushing down through the left foot, reaching up and over to the right. Now, if that doesn't feel happy and exciting for you, you can always bring your hand down, right? Definitely don't need to take a hold of a wrist. Bringing yourself upright if you would like to switch your grip, left hand a hold of right, lengthening up and over to the left, pressing down through that right foot. Inhaling to bring us up, exhaling, diving forward over those legs. Inhaling to come up halfway, feeling that nice long spine. Bend the knees as you need as you melt forward. Press your feet through the floor as we roll ourselves up. Reach those arms up. Pause with them overhead. Going the other way, so maybe taking left wrist or left hand, around right wrist. As we side bend to the left, maybe you have that hand down again. Using your breath to bring you upright, switching the grip, lifting up and over as we side bend to the right. Inhaling to bring us up. Exhaling to dive it forward. Inhaling up halfway. Exhaling to melt it down. Press those feet through the floor as we ripple and roll ourselves all the way up in space. Hands come down through heart center. Pause. Bringing your hands to your hips, making your way towards the top edge of your mat if you're not already. Can we bend through our knees, step our right leg back, and it's only going back about maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet back behind you, and then it's going wide. So we're sort of thinking train tracks as opposed to a tightrope. Bending into that front knee, right toes are turned to 2 o'clock. Twisting those hips or aligning those hips so that they're both trying to face forward. This is a nice short stance here, taking ourselves up into our warrior one. Nice and calm. Bending into that front knee, really nice and zippy through the back leg. We're going to grow nice and tall. We're going to straighten through that front leg and take ourselves forward in space. Now, again, whatever feels accessible to you, maybe you want to stay up, hands on hips. Notice the relationship of your spine and your pelvis. So if you start to bend and your whole back is curving and we're reaching for the floor, can we instead think about bending the knee and lengthening out and then eventually building towards straightening? Yes? It doesn't have to look like anything other than what your body needs it to be. Breathing it in here. Breathing it out. Breathing it in. Breathing it out. We're going to bend into that front knee. We're going to bring ourselves all the way up. We're going to take the back leg. We're going to step it back so we're in a higher lunge this time. Really, really lengthen up tall. Hug those legs together. Start to bend into that back knee until you lower, boom, to the floor. Well, maybe not boom. Lower yourself more delicately than that. Can we inhale to get nice and tall here? And then as we exhale, we're going to send our hips back. Take a bit of a hamstring stretch. As we're here, can we avoid just sort of sitting in the shape? So we're lengthening out through our tail as best as we can. And if you notice, once I lengthen out my tail, I need to bend my knee. So feel free to let that happen in your body. If you have the availability to keep your tail long and then stretch your leg, feel free to do that too. Non-negotiable. That front foot is pushing down and hugging back. Back hip is hugging forward. One more breath here, please. Breathing in. Breathing out. We're going to turn this into a little flow. As you inhale, step down on your front foot. Bring yourself up as you inhale to reach for the sky. As you breathe out, lowering yourself down, send your hips backwards. Enjoy that bit of a hamstring stretch. Inhale to come forward, lengthen and lift up through the body. Lowering down, sending your hips back. Inhale, forward and lift. Adding that flow to this idea of mindfulness. Being mindful and intentional of all the nuances of the shape as we're moving through them. Lengthening it up. Bringing it down, reaching it back. One more time. Inhale, stepping forward, lengthening and lifting up through that spine. When you're ready, bringing it down, stepping and lengthening back. 2 breaths here, please. Inhaling in, zipping up that thigh if you can, keeping a bend if you need, lengthening out through that tail. Step that foot forward. We're going to tuck those back toes, energize the back leg, step it forward. Ta-da! We're in that forward fold. Can we bend down through our knees here? Really, really root through the feet and bring yourself up into our chair pose. Utkatasana. Little bits of housekeeping here. Pressing down through all of your toes. Watch the alignment of your knees. Yeah, we want to make sure they're not collapsing in towards each other if your feet aren't connected also. We want to keep them in a nice parallel alignment. Ooh, it's getting spicy. That whole length of your foot is pressing into the floor all the way up to your bum cheeks here. Maybe lift up through those arms. If it feels reasonable, let's add a very gentle twist here. Hands to our heart. We're going to rotate our torso to the right. Notice if your knees do anything shifty and shimmying. And then if it feels reasonable, this is our first twist of the day together, so no worries if it's not. Bringing those hands together as your left elbow, what is this body part called? Finds your right knee. Lengthening out. 2 more breaths here. Breathe in. Breathe it out. One more time, breathe in. Breathe out, looking down to the floor. Release those hands. Lift your arms, press through your feet. Grow up nice and tall. Hands come down to your hips. Thinking nice tall thoughts here. Let's walk those feet parallel, hip distance apart. Bending through our knees, other side. Your left leg is going to step back. So not terribly huge here with your stance to start. Right foot is reaching forward. Left toes are opened wide like train tracks, right? Left toes are pointing to 10 o'clock. Let's push the floor away, zip through our thighs, and take that little tippity tip. Now, it might feel like it makes more sense to keep a bend in the knee if we're rounding through our spines, bringing ourselves all the way down in whatever capacity that means for your body. Now, if your legs are straight, we're not hanging out in our joints here. We're super zipped through our thighs. Full truth, I could have done with some blocks here. This is a hamstring moment and a half. Breathing through it, inhaling in, exhaling it out. Inhaling it in, exhaling it out. Let's bend into that front knee. Use the energy of your legs to bring yourself up here. Turning and bringing that back foot into our high lunge, zipping up through the back thigh, bending through the front knee, and then super slowly lowering, charging up those legs as we find ourselves down. If you can tuck or untuck those toes, it's up to you. Let's take that nice big lift with the arms up overhead, and then as we lower down, we're going to send our hips back. Little bits of housekeeping here. So same little bit of business about that bend in the knee and the tail, right? If really straightening the knee means that our back's really rounded, it's kind of pulling on our tailbone, why put ourselves through that? Add the bend in your knee, lengthen out through your spine, and it's going to give you a more true experience. Adding flow here if you'd like, stepping down on that front foot, using your glutes as you lengthen yourself up. Moment of lift, and then bringing the hands down, sliding your tail back as you enjoy that bit of a stretch in the front leg. Now, knowing that nothing here is permanent, it's always moving and evolving, and nothing here is relaxing. Although I know it can sometimes feel like such a sensational experience to sit in things and stretch and pull on things, I would love for this to be more of like a moving experience, firing through the glutes as you lift your body up overhead. As you bring your hands down, sitting your bum back, zipping up through the thigh. 2 more, planting through that foot, lifting your arms up, bringing them down, sending your bum back. 1 more time, planting through that foot, lifting yourself up. Exhaling, send that reach back. Nice job, take a breath in. Take a breath out. Come forward, plant through that foot. Let's tuck the back toes, charge up through that back leg, and then step it forward. Squeezing those feet together, squeezing your thighs together as you sit back. Maybe the arms reach up overhead. Feeling all 10 toes pushing down into the floor and letting that work travel all the way up the sides of your thighs, across your glutes, pushing into the floor, belly stable. Take a breath in here. Take a breath out. Now using the hands as leverage to lengthen ourselves out, keep drawing the rib cage in. I know fabric looks like I'm sort of hanging out in space here, but I'm not. It's quite drawn in. Let's use the hands as leverage to lengthen through the spine. Turn your torso to the left. Don't sort of bend or do anything funky just yet. Just turn to the left. Notice if your knees do any slidey business, keep the thighs hugging in. And then if it feels reasonable to place your right elbow on your left thigh, go for it as we rotate out through that spine. Taking your breath in, taking your breath out, lengthening it out here, pressing through those toes, look down to the floor, sweep the arms up overhead, push the floor away, stand up tall. Hands can come down through heart center, take a breath in, take your breath out. Take a pause, feeling your body in space here. Now we're moving, now we're flowing, knowing that if there's anything coming up in your body that I haven't addressed quickly enough, please feel free to freestyle. Please feel free to make this just a blueprint for your practice. Taking your breath in through your nose. Together, let's sigh it out through our mouth again. Let's add those arms. Inhale, big reach up. Exhale, push it away, side out. Inhale, lift it up. Push it away, side out. 1 more time. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, push it away, side out. Stay bent over those legs. Walk those feet so they're a little bit further apart this time. Bending down through the knees, keeping the knees bent as you lift yourself up. So Same sort of situation, right? For our Utkatasana, except our legs are not squeezed together, which means we have to do a little bit more work to keep those legs nice and parallel. Pushing down through the toes, sitting down through the glutes. Take your breath in here. Taking your breath out. Maybe get a little lower, breathing in. Finding that awareness of the inner thighs and the outer thighs to keep the foot really nice and parallel. The knees really nice and parallel. One more time, breathing in. Breathing out. We're going to stay bent, hands to hips. Reach the right leg back, straighten it up as you find that warrior one. So left toes are pointing forward, right toes are pointing to 2 o'clock. Squaring off through those hips, zipped up through your thighs. Your turn to start tipping. Find the tip version that works for you. Maybe a bend of the knee is called for here in that front leg to lengthen out through your spine. We're going to invite maybe a bit of a twist here to our theme today, twisting out anything that's not serving us. So feeling that front foot, zipping through that front thigh. Maybe walk your right hand a little further forward, or maybe your hands are up on your thighs, right? They definitely don't have to be on the floor. That's totally up to you. So wherever your hands are reaching, can we start to consider turning our chest to the left? Now, maybe this looks like your right hand is to the outer left thigh. Maybe this looks like your right hand is on the floor. Left hand can be on your hip, or if you'd like to, if there's a reach there for you, twisting, twisting, twisting. Keep that left hip hugging back. Breathing for 2, for 1. Arrange yourself back towards the floor. Bend into that front knee. Sweep the arms up. Take the back toes. Can you bring yourself up into a high lunge here? Hug those legs in. Gently descend down to the floor. Back knee finds the floor here. Hands come to your heart. Can we press those hands together as we lengthen up through our spine? You better believe we're twisting again. Turning your chest around to the left. Keep that chest rotating, rotating, rotating. And then maybe we take a little tip so that right elbow finds the left knee. Push the chest away the way we practiced before. So you're in this lovely, if I turn and face you, this lovely long line here. Take your breath in. Take your breath out. Now, if it feels reasonable, maybe that back thigh fires up and maybe we take our lunge into a twist. She says, stop pulling over. Take your breath in. Take your breath out. One more time, breathe in here. As you breathe out, look down to the floor, release the arms, sweep yourself up and open out into your warrior 2. Arms open wide. Housekeeping here, that front foot is pointing towards the front of your mat, knee lined up right in the middle of that foot. Back toes are turned so that the pinky toe edge side of your foot is parallel with the back of your mat. Thighs are drawing up. Legs are long. We are our searching warrior, our adventure warrior, our resilient warrior. Breathing it in here. Breathing it out. Back hand comes to back thigh. As we lengthen forward, reach up and back. Take your inhale here. As you breathe out, let's windmill those hands down. Fire up through the back leg. Step forward. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale to melt forward over those legs. Your feet are still stacked parallel hip distance. Bend into those knees. Sweep your arms up. Utkatasana. Bending into those legs. Feeling the heat, feeling the fire, feeling this base of support from our lower body. Checking in with those knees. So right out of the gate, we have the tone through our thighs to make sure we're not collapsing in and out. Can you stay nice and bent as you start to step the back leg back and then straighten it up so that we're finding ourselves in a warrior 1. So walking your feet nice and wide so they're not tight roped together, one lined up, they're opened out. Bending into that front knee, zip up through your back thigh. And then maybe we straighten that front leg, and as you're ready, starting to take that tip forward in space. Now remember, your tip here can look like whatever you need it to be. Could be a bend in the knee and a lengthen out of your spine that way, right? Truly whatever works for you. Now knowing we're going to twist, different ways to access this, maybe a bend in the knee, maybe starting to rotate your body, your left hand comes to the outer right thigh, right hand to hip, that's an option. If it's accessible for you to be towards the floor, maybe that left hand comes forward a little bit so you really have space to rotate. Right hand could be at your right hip or the right arm could be reaching up. Breathing it in. Breathing out. One more time, breathing in. Breathing it out. When you're ready, looking down to the floor, releasing that hand, bending into your knee as we sweep up. Take the back toes back into a high lunge and then slowly descend down to the floor. Bringing those hands to your heart, hug the legs in, hug the hands together. Using them as your base, as your sort of your leverage for lengthening up as we twist around to the right. Little tip down, left elbow to right knee as we push and give ourselves some space. Now, maybe this amount of rotation feels like enough of a challenge to keep the shoulders wide, to keep the legs hugging in. Maybe it makes sense to tuck your toes and lift that back thigh up, finding yourself in your high lunge here. A twisty high lunge. Remember, nothing here is static. Those legs are hugging in. The back thigh is active. The torso is twisted. Breathing it in here. Breathing it out. Look down to the floor. Release the arms as you sweep up and open out into your warrior two. I just love that moment. I try to do it in pretty much all of my practice because I just love that like bigness of it, the fullness of it. Checking in with your housekeeping here. Right toes are pointing forward towards the top edge of your mat. That right thigh is rotated with you to try to keep that parallel alignment. Back toes are turned, pinky toe edge side of your foot, and then zipped up through that thigh. We revisit this space where things might feel uncomfortable, but we always have choice. Even when maybe it feels like we don't. We always have choice. Back hand finds the back thigh, flip that front palm, reach out and up as we slide ourselves back. Inhale in our Exalted Warrior. As we exhale, windmill those arms, frame your front foot, fire up that back thigh, step forward. Both of your feet are parallel. They are about 2 fists away from each other. Bend into the knees, lift ourselves up. Stay here, friends, breathe in. Stay here, breathe out. So I'm holding here because it's like super spicy and fun. Up until now in our practice, we haven't run through any downward dogs or chatarangas or anything like that. So my purpose for that is to make sure that we have a foundation where we don't feel like we have to do those things. Staying low in those legs, feeling the toes press, enjoying that bit of a burn through the thighs. So that being said, as we do move into adding some of those things into our practice, this shape is here for you always. If you feel like you would like to make sure that you still have a bit of heat and fire in your practice, but going through a flow doesn't feel fantastic for you, feel free to home base it out here. Inhaling here together. Inhaling out. Exhaling out. Inhaling. Next exhale, let's melt over those legs. Maybe straightening them at the bottom. Inhale to lengthen out halfway. Here we go. Exhale to plant your hands. Step back and find your version of your plank for today. Housekeeping while we're here. As always, push that floor away. Look at your arm muscles and fire up through those arm muscles. Now, I really don't mind what your range is. Maybe you have a little more range, but as long as you're toning up through those arms and you can feel your arm muscles working here, that's what we want. Feeling your toes and potentially your knees connecting to the floor, hug them in. Can you hear me shaking? To the midline. Heels of the hands are pushing down. Hug that into the midline as well. Stay here, take your breath in. Stay here, take your breath out. One more time, breathe in. As we breathe out, we're going to bend through those elbows super slowly. Widen the collarbones as you lower down to the floor. Flip your toenails. Pedicure side of your feet on the floor. Let's take our hands wide of our mat and tent up through our fingers. Inhaling to roll the shoulder blades on your back. Keep it small, just the upper body ribs still stay connected, and then melt it down. Inhale to roll, lengthen, and lift. Exhale it down. Inhaling to lengthen it out, and exhaling it down. 2 more. Inhale out and up. Exhaling. 1 more time. Inhale to lengthen out and up. Exhaling it down. A little bit of housekeeping here. Can we take those hands with your tented fingers, press them into the floor and hug them down to your toes? Shoulder blades on your back, lengthen your chest out and then pause. So notice I'm not super high. I'm not in my full cobra here. Now, can you keep trying to scoop your pelvis, pubic bone to the floor, not lifting my bum up, but sort of tucking it, lengthening out through the spine, ribs and shoulder blades on your back. And then can you lift your hands to hover off of the floor? Can you hold them here like this? Squeeze the elbows in so you're creating so much tension through the back of the body. Squeeze through those arm muscles, press your toes into the floor, zip up through your thighs. We're here for 5, We're here for 4. Trying not to push your rib cage into the floor. You should be able to speak just like me. For 3. Well, maybe not just like me. For 2, you'll be speaking in your own way. Last one, plant the hands right underneath your shoulders. Keep the tension, all of that squeezing in the back of the body. Maybe it's really hard. You can drag yourself forward and lengthen yourself up, zipping through those thighs. Take a breath in and then roll through your toes. So now you're back onto your underside of your toes. Bend your knees as we find our downward dog. Take your breath in here. Take your breath out. Now, downward dog is never, ever going to be considered a restful place in our practice together, please. Can we consider it more of a home-based check-in? That place where we find the little nuances of where our feet need to be, where our spine needs to be, our rib cage drawn in, the hands pushing away, the arms nice and taut. 3 or 4 more breaths here. Inhaling in. Exhaling. Maybe out through your mouth, trying to widen the space of your shoulders away from your ears, trying to zip up into the ribs, feeling all of the same nuances as when you were in a plank. Lift your heels, bend your knees, look forward. We're going to walk our feet up to meet our hands. Your choice if your feet are together or a little apart. Bend through your knees, lengthen yourself up. We all meet here in our chair pose because maybe you've already been here for like 500 hours already. Take your breath in. As we breathe out, let's push the floor away, stand up tall. Let the arms come down. Big breath in. Big breath out. Keeping on theme with these blowings of the breaths away, we're going to add something called a breath of joy here. So we're going to inhale to reach the arms forward. We're going to inhale to open out. We're going to inhale to lift up. And then we're going to exhale, push away. Ha! And it's going to get nice and loud, and it's going to be free, and it's going to be silly. So we inhale forward, inhale sideways, inhale up, exhale out. Inhale up, forward, sideways, lift. Inhale, 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 exhale, inhale up and up and up. 2 more. Inhale, 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 push away. Inhale, 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 push away. Hold it at the bottom. Stay here, breathe in. Stay here, breathe out. Inhale, come up halfway, maybe straighten those legs. Exhale, melt your torso down. Take that right leg, step your right leg back so your toes are pointing to 2 o'clock. Bend into that front knee. We're up in our warrior 1. Inhale to grow tall, maybe straighten through the front leg, tipping our torso forward in space. Remember, your bend, your twist looks however you would like it to be. We're going to start to twist that torso around to the left, feeling that left hip drop back. Maybe left arm reaches. Maybe your right hand is to the outside of the left leg. Maybe you have a bit of a bend in the knee. Remember, it's your practice. Breathing it in here. Breathing it out. One more time, breathing in. As we breathe out, looking down to the floor, plant through that hand, bend through your knees, lift yourself up and open out into a warrior 2. Lengthening out through those arms here, zipping up through that back thigh. Front toes are facing front. Oh, all the excitement of all that breathing, all that oxygen going to my head. We're going to take our left forearm, plant our left forearm on our left thigh, circle that right arm up and over so we're in a nice long line from our right fingertips through our right waist to our right leg. Now again, fabric might make it look like I'm hanging out on my leg, but I'm not. I'm in fact trying to reach quite long here. Hug those legs in. Feel the zip of that back thigh. Inhaling to be here. Exhaling to be here. Can we maybe start to open up through those arms? Front arm reaching down to the floor. And then maybe with that, we zip through that thigh, that front thigh. Fire up through your arms. Now notice I could totally hang out down here, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to keep reaching out through both sides of the waist, zipping up through both of the thighs, lengthening it out here, breathing it in. Top hand as we breathe out brings us up. Bend into your front knee as you windmill and exalt yourself back in space. Take your inhale here. As we exhale, windmill those arms down. Now your choice, how you would like to flow or how you would like to be here. If you'd like to flow, inhale to be nice and long and strong in your version of a plank. Exhale, draw your chest forward. Make sure those shoulders stay away from your ears. Inhale, back muscles are on as you lengthen out and up into your version of a back bend. Exhale, up and back, downward dog. Take a breath in here, please. Exhale it out. If it feels reasonable, the right leg is going to lift up. If you would like to come down onto hands and knees, and lift up from here, please feel free. Maybe the right leg reaches up, and then maybe it comes forward to the outside of the elbow or wrist. Inhale to lift it up. You could be on hands and knees and exhaling forward this way. Inhale it up. You could be up in a chair pose and just doing like a little one-legged squattily squat if you want to. Yeah? 2 more. That right leg is up. Pull it to the outside. 1 more time. Inhale up. Exhale to the outside. Can you hold it to the outside? Can you squeeze it up through center? Can you bring it to the left forearm? Woo. Squeeze it up through center. Send it back, 3-legged dog. Lower the right leg down. Take a big breath in. Take the breath out. Inhale, lift up through your heels. Bend your knees, look forward. As you breathe out, walk yourself forward into your forward fold. Inhale to come up halfway. Got spicy there. Exhale to melt it down. Bend through your knees. Push your feet through the floor as you lengthen yourself up here. Inhaling to be nice and long. Exhale, can we get deeper? Enjoying the work here of the thighs and the glutes. Take 1 more breath in. As we breathe out, melt forward, maybe straighten through those legs. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale to melt it down. We're going to step back with the left toes, walking ourselves out into our warrior 1 here. Bending through that front knee, front toes are forward, back thigh is zipped, reaching those arms up. Straighten through that front leg, whatever version works for you. And then we take ourselves into your version of the fold, right? That could mean you keep a bent knee and lengthen your spine out. Taking a breath in. I know I need it here. Taking a breath out. Now, twist of your choice. Maybe you're keeping a bend, left hand to outer thigh as you twist. Maybe you're straightening that leg and twisting from the floor. Breathing it in. Breathing it out. Knowing that the rotation is happening from our obliques, not just because we're forcing our spine in space. Looking down to the floor, bending through that front knee. Sweep your arms out. Come all the way up and out. Find your warrior 2. Finding all of those little nuances of those shape, bending into that knee, lengthening those arms out. Taking your breath in here. Taking your breath out. Now feeling all of that zippity zip zip stuff to keep our muscles really nice and strong and supportive. Let's lower the right forearm to the right thigh, circle that arm, and find that long line. So it's so much harder to not sit into things, right? I could totally hang out here and like not really have to worry about very much. Or I could energize through the feet, hug the legs in, feel the work of the thighs and inner thighs, lengthen my arm out, and this arm sort of just becomes like an accessory. If I were to take that arm out, it's like I'm doing a side plank, yes? If you feel so inclined. Maybe the arms open up as you twist a little deeper and you can straighten into that front thigh. As you do so, your hips are shooting back, your spine is growing long, your rib cage is drawn in. Breathing it in here. Breathing it out. Top hand works as a lever to bring you all the way up. Bend into that front knee as you exalt through your warrior. Bringing yourself all the way up, we windmill down to the floor. Now remember your choice if you would like to float or not. Stepping back if you would like to into a plank. Inhaling to be here. As we exhale, draw your chest forward and wide as you lower towards the floor. Inhale to sweep yourself into back bend of your choice, using all of the musculature I know that you know. Breathing in here. Breathing out. Now this is all an option as far, well, everything is an option. But as far as some ab work goes, maybe you're reaching that left leg up. As you exhale, left knee to left elbow. Inhale back. You're going to do that same series, left knee to left. Now maybe you're on more of a hands and knees situation or a kneeling plank, in which case you can still totally do this. Maybe you feel more comfortable being off your wrist completely. You could take the left leg out of the way and work on a little single leg squat, yes? This is, again, where being in community is so fun because we can sort of create this orchestra of movement where we all have the same goal here or a same goal as far as feeling, but our practice looks different. One more time, and we create the environment together. Left leg goes back, pause. Take your breath in as you breathe out, bring left to left. Now stay lifted if you can. Bring it through center, hugging it up and in, and then it goes over towards the right. Bring it back through center. Lift that left leg up. Place the left foot on the floor. 3 breaths to be here, please. Inhaling it in. Exhale out through your mouth. Inhaling it in. Exhale out through your mouth. One more time. Breathe in. Exhaling it out. Inhale to lift your heels. Bend your knees, look forward, and then come down onto your knees. Sit your bum back, give your wrists a little shake. Grab a little bit of water if you need it. Taking a breath in here and a breath out. Okay, wrists rolled, feeling good. Little bit of a break. Let's bring ourselves all the way around. We're going to come down, and then we're going to come back up. I think that's my plan. Actually, I'm going to turn this way for you. So feet are going to be planted on the floor. Pelvis is nice and heavy here as well. Arms can be down beside you, palms facing up. Letting the hips and the pubic bone sort of find even playing ground here if that's possible for you. Again, taking those breaths in and breath out. Okay, planting those feet through the floor. We're going to start to scoop through our low bellies. Push the floor away as we lift our hips out and up. Take a pause at the top here. And then roll ourselves back down. So not like a chest opening experience. Inhale here. As we exhale, keep pushing the floor away, scooping through the pelvis, firing the glutes as we lift ourselves out and up. Take a breath in at the top here. And then exhale to roll it all the way down. 2 more, inhaling. As we breathe out, scooping, pushing the floor away, firing through those glutes, lifting out and up. At the top, making sure there's lots of activity, yes? So finding the feet on the floor, that arrangement of our inner thighs, so that our thighs are popping out but are rather engaged in. Quite active, maybe the arms are reaching up. Gently rolling all the way down. One more time, breathing in. As we breathe out, scooping, pushing that floor away, and lifting the hips up. Now notice the relationship of your hip bones here. Can you keep your hip bones nice and level and super push into your left foot? Super push your left foot down into the floor. Keeping your hips level, maybe rolling up to your right toes. Keep pushing into the left foot, maybe rolling up to the right toes. Maybe your left leg comes to a tabletop. Keeping those keeping those hips really nice and active. I have to put my right toes down because when I lift my leg, my hips don't stay square. We're going to stick our bum out towards the floor about halfway. Squeeze our glutes and lift up for 4. Lower it down a little bit. Squeeze and lift up for 3. I'm shaking. Push the floor away. Lift up for 2. One more time. Lift it up. Can you hold it here? Take a breath in. And then lower the right toes down. Stay lifted if you can. Maybe if you need to take a break, that's fine. And then come back up. Feel both of your feet pressing into the floor. Drawing that rib cage in, glutes are on. Really charge up through that whole right foot, feeling the whole right foot into the floor. And then maybe rolling up to those left toes. Now, depending what's happening there, maybe it makes sense in your body to lift your left leg up to a tabletop. But only if those hips can stay level. You're going to inhale, lower your glutes towards the floor. Push the floor away and lift up for 4. Keeping awareness through the inner lines of those thighs for 3. Sticking your bum out as you lower down. Push that floor away, lift up for 2. One more time. Lift it up. Hold it here. Take a breath in. Lower the left toes gently. Lower yourself all the way down. Fire, fire, fire. Little rock and roll maybe across your back. And then all the way over to one side, bring yourself up to seated. Now, maybe this is where it might feel nice to grab a blanket or a cushion to sit up on. Come sa. There. Reaching your legs out nice and long, give them a little shakety shake shake. Then let's pull the right foot in so the right foot is lining up with that inner seam of the left leg. Flexing up through those left toes. Think nice and tall through your thoughts. And then just melt it forward. Now, just like when we were doing this through our more active practice. We're not sitting in our legs here. We're pushing the foot down, zipping up through our thigh. Unless if you do that, your spine gets really roundy and cranky. Can we keep maybe a bit of a bend and then tip forward, right? So it's not really about the like outside physical appearance of our practice. It's really about the like physical inside nuances. Breathing it in, breathing it out. Got quite hot and toasty there. In and out. Now, if you'd like to spice this up, keeping in theme with all of our twisting, let's walk our hands over to the left side. Maybe right hand grabs right pinky toe. And maybe we lengthen out. And we're not going to twist all the way directly to the left, but you're going to think of shining your heart to the left edge of your mat, the left upper edge of your mat. Remember that all those nuances are turned on. So a zip of the quad, a reaching of the leg, hip hugging back. One more breath in. Using those hands to guide yourself all the way up. Let's take the right leg and fold it up. Plant down through that right foot. So we're going to do one version of this and then another version of this. Feeling the right foot planted down, reach out through the left leg. Can we sit up really, really nice and tall? We're going to inhale to reach both of our arms up, spin up and around in space, and then lower those arms down. So your right hand is behind the right hip. Left arm can tuck into that right knee to give you a nice squeeze. You could also give yourself a twist with that left elbow down. You could also open out that arm, right? Over left. Breathing in. Breathing it out. Taking one more breath in here. As you breathe out, turning your gaze, gently releasing. Maybe give those hips a little waggle, maybe a little counter twist. And then we're going to go to that same side. However, if you would like to sort of extra spice it up, your right leg is going to cross over your left leg now. So instead of it being next to it, it's across it. And maybe that left leg tucks back, sitting up on a little cushion. So if I was facing you, I mean, it's hard to see because I'm wearing black and black, but my left leg is tucked around. My right leg is over top, but I'm sitting on both of my hip bones still, or my sit bones still. Definitely not my hip bones, definitely my sit bones. That right leg can walk out where you need it to be. And same thing, inhale to be nice and tall. Turn yourself around and then open the arms up, collecting that right thigh however you need. A little bit of a deeper through your QL, through your psoas. A little piriformis C2. Breathing it in. Breathing out. And when I say that, I mean that our breath is collecting the experience that's happening inside of us. And that experience can be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic. And as you're collecting it with your breath, you have the opportunity to invite more of it, or let it be, or let it go. One more breath in here. As you breathe out, turning your gaze, releasing through that leg. Give your legs a little wiggle, maybe a little counter twist. And then let's go to the other side. So again, sitting up on your little cushion or a blanket if you've made yourself a little booster seat. Taking the left foot, aligning that left foot into that right inner thigh, sitting up nice and tall, and then pitching forward. And in the effort to sit tall, if your leg bends, perfect. Bueno, let's keep it. Finding the range that works best for you here. Zipping up through the thigh if you do have a straight leg. And even if your knee is bent, you can think about toning up through that muscle, yeah? It doesn't have to be relaxed just because the shape looks different. Enjoying a few breaths to be here. In and out. If it feels reasonable to spice this up, we're going to take our hands and walk them over to the right. As the hands go over to the right, trying to keep a nice square hip here. And thinking about our chest shining to that upper right corner as opposed to like a full twist. It's more of like a lateral flexion, a side bend. Just a little bit, but it is there. Again, energizing through the leg if it's straight, keeping it bent but active if it's bent. One more breath here. And then taking those hands back through center, bringing yourself all the way up. Let's fold the left leg so that left foot plants onto the floor. Again, enjoying that little booster seat, active through the long leg. Let's lift our arms up, twist ourselves up and around, open those arms out, and then it's your choice if you'd like to collect your right thigh in with your elbow. Maybe you'd like to do a bend. Maybe you'd like to do an opening. Whatever feels reasonable, but our tippy-toppiest priority is our pelvis here. Lengthening it up, active out through that leg. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And it sounds so simple to say that, like breathing in, breathing out, but there's so much more going on to make that possible in our bodies. And what a privilege it is to simplify it as breathe in, breathe out, right? When you're ready, looking back to center, unravel, give yourself a little counter twist if you would like to. And then totally up to you if you'd like to make this extra spicy. You're going to take the left leg and cross it over the right. Maybe that's where we stay. Maybe the right leg tucks itself in. So you're in sort of like a crisscross applesauce situation here. Planting down through both sides of the sit bones if you can. And then play around with this placement of the right leg. Bringing the arm in, lengthening ourselves up, and opening out here. One side can be so different from the other. So maybe inviting a little bit of grace and gratitude and permission in here to let it be different. Tall thoughts, spinny bodies. That was SP, spinning, because we're spinning around. One more breath here as we breathe out, turning back to center. Maybe give yourself a little counter twist. And then if you have any extra props or anything underneath your glutes, you can maybe scoot them out of the way. Planting through your feet, reaching your arms forward, scooping your belly in super slowly, lowering yourself down to the floor. If it feels reasonable to collect your knees in and give yourself a little rock side to side, please feel free. If there's any extra shapes you would like to take, maybe a supine, that just means backwards twist, maybe a happy baby, your hands can come behind your thighs, onto your ankles and calves, maybe up to your feet. Feel free to do that. But if what you're most ready and excited about is your Savasana, I always encourage to grab a blanket, slide it just underneath the tops of your shoulders, supporting your head, allowing your body to ease out here. I'm going to bring myself up, but know that your Shavasana is your invitation here to chill out. Taking the breath in, and now letting your breath be one that's just organic in your body. It's moving, it's flowing, it's collecting and inviting and just so full of magic. As you're here, maybe using your breath as a way to release, let be. Maybe using your breath as a way to feel out the support of everything that is underneath you, whether that be floor, blankets, pillows, all of these things. And knowing that your body is supported underneath you, letting it just soften a little bit more. Noticing any extra bits of tension through your eyes, through your eyebrows, through your jaw, through your chest. And letting those bits of tension just subside. Take a break. If it's okay with you, I am going to play just a little bit of chimes while you're here. And it is my intention to close practice together. If as you're existing in your Shavasana, you feel like you want to stay longer, please feel free to turn me off. And I will see you next time. Taking a breath here to feel all of that support, feel all of the movement, the resiliency the powerfulness of your choices and your body today. Closing practice with this gift of stillness, because truly that is the most advanced yoga practice. Being exactly as you are, coming into your breath. If it feels like adding a little bit of movement is the most organic thing for your body right now, please feel free to add a fingers and toes. Maybe a reach overhead and a big yawn. Keeping eyes closed if that feels reasonable to you, and rolling over onto one side. Feeling all the juju and the resonance of your practice here. And as you, in your own time, make your way up to seated, maybe keeping the eyes closed to hold on to that cocoon of your practice. As you come to seated, letting that be whatever it needs your body to be. Could be standing, maybe still lying down, maybe kneeling. And letting your hands arrive wherever you need them to be. Feeling the length from our spines as we sit up tall. Although you need no permission from me, I would like to offer you this moment of cheerleading, of congratulations for moving your body today. It is not easy to commit to moving, especially for an hour, for ourselves. It is not easy to do things that don't feel delicious in our bodies. And it is not easy to not give up. it is not easy to keep going. And so, if I may be so bold, I'm showering you with words in love and your ability to keep going. Thank you for making your practice and allowing me to be a little part of it. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Thank you.